Right, so what do we have? Evaluate, we keep it there. Right, so in this video we are going to, I already started to design a skill or mini skill and the workflow that allows me to basically set and execute goals. So the way we can, you know, do that is by basically scheduling, creating our goal and scheduling it, and then it should basically run and evaluate and loop until it's done. Now, I can show you what it's done, and the inspiration basically comes from two uh, individuals, um, Mr. Steinberg and Boris Cherny. So I think it's Michael Steinberg, the creator of OpenCloud, talks about it, and Boris Cherny talks about it as well, the creator of uh, Claude Code. So yeah, so Peter Steinberg, not Michael Steinberg, and Boris Cherny. Um, both are very recognized these days in the world of AI. And what they're saying is that these days, rather than prompting AI, you should create the goal loops that basically, or loops that basically run in the background until your goal is achieved. So I kind of done a little bit AI research to basically um, using ChatGPT to basically see the structure, what is it all about. Now, I don't want to use any coding and anything like that. What I want to use is basically our workflows in OpenDora that will basically um, achieve that. So this is not the workflow I want to use. So I went to Minds agent and I basically ask it to create the loop. Now, something I wasn't aware is that we currently block basically loops or cycles within OpenDora workflows. So I want to unblock it so that we can basically do, as you can see over here, investigation, plan, execution, evaluation, and decision. So continue, evaluate, decide. That correct design if loops were supported. Like evaluate, decide. Why would I? Okay, this is a little bit puzzling why I tried to design it like that. If, okay, fine. Right. I just want to make sure because the design that you showed me is actually showing that we loop back to evaluate, which is quite weird because if I look back to evaluate, I would get the same reply because evaluate just basically decides, you know, what needs to, you know, if the execution was done correctly or not. So I would imagine that the loop should go but to kind of investigate the handoff to be passed over and to investigate on the beginning of the loop. Rather than evaluate. So let's see what Minds is going to make out of it. And I don't even know if I explained myself. But yeah, it's an interesting concept. So it's kind of is similar, I guess, to what Katbafi was talking about the auto research and things like that, because it's kind of same kind of loop. We just kind of replace it with the kind of making sure we're persisting in in kind of keep making sure and iterating until the task is done. Right, so goal, investigate, plan, execute, evaluate, decision. Right, so or actually I've got an idea. But I don't know if it's a good idea. Right, so in current situation, if we can call the workflow run at the continue node, is that feasible, or is it going to still fail at the circular dependency thing? So basically what I'm trying to achieve is, rather than moving back the execution to the start at the continue, we would just execute the same workflow again from there. Do you think that makes sense, and is it possible with the current setup? So this means that the goal would be rephrased by continue, if that makes sense. But then we potentially lose some context because that's the new session. Now, I don't know if it's a good if it's a good approach or not, but let's see what is the verdict. So yes, that makes sense. Instead of circular edge, continue, investigate, plan, we do continue, create, dependency. Okay, so we've got this, that, and that. So that kind of makes sense. So if we would pass as a new goal, as a new criteria for the okay, so before we call the workflow, we would have to shape basically the inputs of the workflow. Or actually, we could reshape everything as a kind of prompt for the workflow, or actually just use the right input for the prompt and generate it, combining the original prompt together with the continue prompt so that the full context is preserved, and we can basically use like the CTX or inputs outputs of the previous steps, like literally the parameters node, to pass over to the run um, to the run workflow run, as well as the output of the continue result, and kind of shape it into workflow run parameters, if that makes sense. Or actually, output the two. We've got that in a context, and literally make sure that the workflow run is literally run by the agent. So we do not put any, well, most of the parameters we ask the agent to use the context of the session to literally execute that. Or the continue output actually shapes the input for the workflow run. I don't know which one is better, and what is better designed, but you help me with that. Right, so we'll see what is going to happen. Let's stop this guy. Right, so what do we have? Yeah, so let's right. So yeah, so let's implement it. Let's update this workflow. And I'm not sure if CTX is the right approach, because we, I think, changed it into inputs and outputs. So let's verify that before you implement it. Right. As he's working and cooking over there, I'm just going to quickly switch because I was in the middle of doing something in Cloud Code, and right. So what do we need to do to fix all errors? I'm still sometimes puzzled, like, and annoyed when Claude Code or any other agent um break something, and then they like, it wasn't me, it was there before I started. Like, yeah, like everything was working before you started, and suddenly it's not working and you're saying it was me. It's quite funny though. I just realized that I didn't have my microphone plugged in, so sorry about that. And we cooking, we updated the workflow. Let's have a look at the workflow, how it looks. So we've got a goal loop, and what do we have? Hmm. Right, so we've got two prompts. This actually make kind of sense, but do we need so many steps? Well, I'm going to say fine. Um, I kind of would prefer maybe that to be a little bit simpler and less steps, but I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like forcing it to do the chain of thought. Maybe that will bring yield better results. Um, right. So I am going to go to product engineer and edit product engineer and see. To be honest, that's not restricted to product engineer, isn't it? Because we can run goals and anything on all of them, but never mind. I'm going to start with a goal loop. This means that product engineer clicker. I wonder if PyAuto GUI is working or not. I probably need to test it in my new environment, but never mind. Got Office Clip. I'm thinking, what goal should we give to our AI to test it? Um, I'm going to do product owner. And I will give it product owner, and we're going to give him goal loop and skill goal shaping. Right, give him goal shaping, and I remove actually goal. Let's save that. And right, create new session. I would like you to help me to shape the goal, test goal. I don't even know what to ask for. So come up with some good iterative goal that we can work on together. Now, the funny thing is most of the agents, including OpenDora, they already have basically the agent loop. So quite often the agent itself would already have a loop that if you ask it a question and give it a task, it would anyhow go and keep working until, let's say, application is finished or the workflow is created and everything else. Now, what this is kind of forcing is the review and decision of is it done, is it not done, and that is probably at some level already there embedded. So we kind of like giving it another loop. You know, I believe Cloud Code has it built in. I'm sure Codex has it built in, and I'm sure like things like Cowork do have that built in as well. It's just basically us converting it into a logical workflow where you've got steps, where you've got that extra kind of enforced loop rather than agent decide loop. Which, look, the agents are getting better and better, and I get that you know at some point we will not need to do that. My kind of honest opinion is like, even if you treat your agent as a employee, like you're going to give your employee computer, you're going to give your employee Excel, and then you're not going to ask your employee to basically just do everything manually. If they can automate stuff, record macros in Excel, if they can code some things that happen automatically on schedule, and things that can be automated without them using the brain power and kind of doing the steps manually, then you want to automate it as a kind of program, piece of code, script. I believe the workflows is kind of like equivalent, where the agent can like do step by step. It's kind of like giving it instructions, like define instructions where it has to happen no matter what you decide. So there is kind of like taking away the flexibility from the agent, but you need to weigh it. Like sometimes it will be good, sometimes you just define things as a kind of steps, workflow steps. Sometimes you just don't, you just use like a skill or something. But for the things that are repetitive and you want to execute exactly the same every day, I don't see a reason why you should be using agents and waste kind of credits on that if you can define it as a code and make the agent watch over it and make sure it works. And if it fails, the agent can pick it up and fix it. So yeah. So what do we have? Build something, learn something. Okay, fix a problem. Yeah, let's do that. Let's fix the problem. No. Right. So OpenDora, which is your location, has very slow loading times for sessions. And sometimes if we switch between settings, workflow tab or any other tab, and then we want to come back to sessions, sometimes it just reloads everything. Sometimes it takes time to basically load all the sessions back on the side and then switch between the sessions. Sometimes it doesn't work. I need to sometimes switch two different sessions to switch back to session view, where I just want to go in and select the session on the side and be switched automatically into. So we probably need something like SSE or WebSockets um, to work perfectly. And we want to make sure we improve basically the UI speed and interaction in general, how the UI interacts and everything else. So we definitely want to do some planning before the goal is set. So that will be mini plan goal kind of thingy. I don't know if it's a good goal or... And it kind of loaded only goal shaping, which is makes sense, but that's a big goal. Okay, so I mean, right. So um, stop conditions are right. I don't know if I understand it right now, because now we've got stop condition that is producing the plan. Actually, that might be counterintuitive, isn't it? So right. So basically, we want to make sure that the tiny improvements that are not okay. So the goal is basically to improve the not to plan. The goal is to improve the UI functionality, and the stop is when we explore all the small improvements that we can make, explore and implement all the small improvements that we can make without making changes to the entire architecture. So basically, as long as we can kind of do small changes that will improve the user experience, then we are happy to carry on going. We want to stop if the architecture is need to be changed drastically. But the goal is to actually make the improvements, not to plan. Oh, okay. Right, that's okay. I think we kind of got our goal. Um, right. So can you delegate that to product engineer to implement it, and make sure you request him to specifically use the goal goals loop workflow. So yeah, let's test our goal and see what's going to happen. So you can see product engineer is already working. Do you have the workflow? Save changes. Okay, we've got our to-do list. That's 6 tasks. Are you stuck or something, or what are you doing? Right, let's stop this guy. Let's stop this guy and we say, are you done? Obviously he's not. What is going on? Let's have a look. Hi. It's working. It's working. Right, what are you doing, man? Okay. Should we do next? So I got goal loop. So I think I'm almost okay. We've got goal loop running. Why do you need the session trees and stuff?
Mogę wziąć od Ciebie odkurzacza tego żółtego?
Po co ci? A,
Żeby to, te fugi, kurwa...
no dobra, no zrób.
Tak? No bo kurwa, co nie ma kurwa odkurzacza, kurwa, jakaś chyba na samochodzie.
Dobra.
Jeszcze nie przyjechała.
Nie? Zrób. Okay, so we are exploring a lot of stuff. At which stage are we? Okay, what are we? What is going on? Okay, that was a. Oh yeah, we've done some bushing, applying patches and things. Right, just going to do some changes there. Right. Okay. So we've got another goal created. Let's see what it's going to come up with and if it's going to. Why do we get session for? Oh, so it monitors the. Okay, I need to probably make some changes to Opendora. That's not related to that, but I can see it kind of. So go workflow, go loop. Okay, why did it fail? This oh, so where is this coming from? So we got some error probably somewhere. Right, let's have a look at tools, file system. Let's remove this guy and set up the correct correct path. Let's do this again. Remove this guy. Put correct path and save changes. And what I'm going to do is literally go back to workflow product, not this one. Testing. No. Right, let's go from here. Product owner. Let's get our prompt. Go to product engineer. I am going to do something drastic here and select product engineer. Got 20 selected sessions. We are testing, so I'm just going to remove all of that. Now I'm going to select product engineer again, create new session. Create. Okay. Now let's try to do the same prompt workflow parameters. That's cool. This is what we want. Okay, so what are you doing? What are you doing? We've got the workflow. What you're supposed to use is the workflow. You haven't. You are being a little bit annoying. Why you didn't use the workflow, man? Right. Oh my god. Come on. Okay. So what are you actually doing? Okay, so it invoked the workflow loop straight away. Okay, I was looking at the wrong session. So we've got OpenDora. Basically, this is our prompt. This is basically what it's done. It loaded the parameters. It found the workflow and it's running the workflow, complex medium. Cool. Let's have a look at what it actually is doing. So we've got workflow parameters, we've got our prompt, it makes sense. Basically what we're looking at now is all the steps of the workflow that are executed. So it's reading the files, is complexity medium, deliver. Okay. That's a comprehensive kind of requirement. Action taken. I think there's some misunderstandings there because we're looking at the session trees. And we improve the session tree rather than actually, what I'm going to start doing is checking if how is my how does right codex disappear. That's the first thing. So I need to do codex. Go to the cloud. I want to check my 5 hours limit remaining. Only 27%. So I am kind of utilizing a lot more my subscription. That's a kind of good thing, but a little bit worrying as well. So we failed on the view permissions. Why did we fail? Hmm. Right. You don't have any skills. How do you even see that? Okay. Actually, I'm kind of inclined to allow session to see what you're going to do. Allow session, allow session. Now, it's probably safe to say that there will be some overlap between product implementation workflow and goal loop. So the question is kind of like how we can maybe see either which one we use and where, how to take the best out of both words to make sure it's implemented. But look, it's kind of doing something, not exactly what I intended. Maybe the requirement was too vague and it started to look at deviated and started to look at other stuff. I don't think it's a model's fault or Loop's fault. It's probably me not being kind of explicit enough. Allow session, allow session. Why are you loading Next.js again, man? Right, resets. This should reset already, isn't it? Session tree panel. Why the hell do we have a session tree panel all the time? Right, I am going to stop this and stop that. So we are kind of going in ellipse and fixing stuff. What we do now. Right, so kind of does what it says on the tin. I mean, I probably need to spend some time improving it in general, but yeah, it kind of is doing the correct thing. So this is how you set up goals in Open Dora. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.